Hello, everybody, and welcome back to another edition of Running the Bases. I'm your host, Michael Garaffa. As you can see, we are here on the bottom of the screen as it is now for Season 4, Episode 2. I am joined today by Ryan Blank. I'm not sure if Marco Peralta or Nick Nath will be joining me today. I hope they will at some point, but we are not sure if they will be. Maybe they'll join us eventually during the show. If not, it's just going to be Ryan and I for today. But we are here. It is the first full week of baseball that we have had now that we are going to be covering on the show today. It's been a crazy week, been a lot of ups and downs, been a lot of surprises, I will say. I think you can agree with me on that front, that this has been a very surprising first week of the season for you. What do you think about that?
Ton of surprises. I think that what you have to look at is there are some teams that are playing a lot better than we anticipated, and I got to shout out teams like the Red Sox and the Orioles. The Red Sox have won 4 in a row. They're looking really good. The Orioles, that division is really flip-flopped than what mainly everyone was really thinking. And then also the team I've got to really shout out is the Orioles and the Reds. Not the Orioles, the Phillies and the Reds as well. Two teams that have been on fire. So they're looking really good. And I have to respect it. The Phillies are looking like a team right now that could easily win 90 games.
I agree, and I think that trying to figure out my smeary glasses now at the moment, trying to work that out as I do this. But I think that with a lot of things that we've seen so far early on, and what my goal for the first 20 minutes of these shows during regular season is there's going to be a topic, and unless the topic is like a custom roster, the topic is going to be kind of loose. We're not going to be focusing on it so much. The topic for today's show is, will Mike Trout end up being the best player in baseball history? But because there's just two of us, we're not going to be able to spend 20 minutes talking about that. So I want to just chat a little bit about what's happening. And I think Ryan brings up a really great point that the Phillies and Reds have stood out to me mightily. And obviously we'll go over every team in a bit when we do our power rankings and then, players and stuff. But I mean, as a whole, commentary for this right now, the Reds have shocked me so much. I mean, it's unbelievable. They have been, and the turnaround from last weekend, it wasn't like they were playing poorly, but I think they started the year like 2-1, and I didn't really have many high hopes for them. And then they just took off. I mean, I saw them at the Diamondbacks opener Friday night. They just hit. I mean, the first pitch of the game, Jesse Winker just hit a rocket that was almost a home run. They're having fun. They're enjoying themselves. And the same thing goes for the Phillies. They are just really having a great time out there. And I think it's important that you mention the Athletics, who got off to such a poor start. They've won 3 games now. Is it 3 in a row or 3 out of 4? I don't remember. But they're
3 out of 4.
Yeah, they're playing better. That's important for the Athletics. They're playing better than they did. But, I mean, just some serious disappointments right now have come in the form of the Yankees, the Mets, and the Nationals. I mean, just the 3 teams, the Mets and Yankees specifically, the 2 New York teams they're not having it. I mean, the Yankees look like they can't hit. They can't hit. And their pitching is not doing they're doing exactly what I expected them to do, but they're just not really pitching very well.
What you have to look at with the Yankees is, once again, they're getting hit with injuries. There's never going to be a year where the Yankees are fully healthy, and it's becoming more and more evident. And that is why the Yankees are never going to be a top team that's going to be contending for a World Series all the way throughout a season, because they're never fully healthy. And I think that's going to be their downfall, and that's the last thing that any team should have, is that they aren't winning games because they aren't healthy. And I think the loss of Tanaka as well is really hitting them, because Kluber looked horrible against Tampa Bay. And Taillon's looked good, but overall the pitching staff's not looking great. And I feel bad for Garrett Cole, because he's got to carry that rotation.
Yeah, and these are all questions I presented before the season started. I mean, I said it because not many people were really thinking about it, but this rotation got worse. They knew that they had healthy guys in Paxton, obviously, who now needs Tommy John, so that went out the window. But they knew that they had reliable guys like Paxton and Happ who will go out there and probably – I mean, Happ wasn't the best, but he was a 3.5 ERA kind of guy, and so was Paxton. But Kluber is not that guy anymore. And Domingo Germán is just fallen apart. Severino's not going to be back for a little while. I mean, this team is just not really – it's not anything that anyone chalked it up to be. And I think a lot of people – I personally saw this coming. I did not think the Yankees were going to have a great year. Yeah, I thought they were going to win the division, but I didn't think that they were going to do it by, dominating everybody. So I think it's not been much of a surprise. The one thing that's been funny for me though for the Yankees is, did you see Rougned Odor and what he looks like without the beard? I got to pull this picture up for you because this is absolutely hilarious. So as it goes with the Yankees, if you have a beard or hair, any facial hair has to be shaved completely. It's a complete transformation. Let me see if I can find the picture somewhere. Okay, well, when you look on Google, there are none. I have to look at. Oh, here we go. This is Rougned Odor. Ooh. That's
no, that's not Rougned Odor. No.
Yes, it is. It's unbelievable. Here, let me
look like Rougned.
I know it doesn't, but see, that's what happens. And that's the crazy thing with the Yankees is I remember a story from way back in the day when Darnell McDonald, you might remember him, dude had braids. No, not braids. I forgot what they're called. Oh my gosh. I don't remember, but his hair was they were like the long, wow, I really can't believe I forgot what they're called. Dreads. He had dreads that were this thick, and he had them like down to his like lower back, and they were so long, and he'd been growing them out his whole life, but he got traded to the Yankees, and he said that he had to cut them off, and he said he was crying when they made him cut his hair because it's something he grew out in his entire life. And just because he got traded to the Yankees, he had to cut it off. So, I mean, I don't know. If it were me and I were in that kind of position, I would just say, I'm just not going to play. If you're in that spot where you love your hair that much and you spent your whole life, I mean, what if it's a cultural thing? Like there are certain cultures where you can't cut your hair. I mean, obviously we haven't seen anyone like that.
There's exceptions. You saw with Garrett Cole with the Yankees. So there's going to be exceptions if it's for like your culture or your religion, but overall it's just the tradition with the Yankees and you got to respect it.
What was the deal with Garrett Cole? Why did he not have to?
I personally don't know why, but I know that they just let him go. They made him shave the beard, but they did not make him his haircut.
I think part of it was because they paid him so much money that there was like a mutual respect there, or maybe he asked for less money so that he can keep his hair. That might have been it. But yeah, so the Yankees have been tough, and on the other half of New York, there's the Mets, and the Mets are just really struggling right now, and it's been a slog. I mean, being a Mets fan has been very difficult. I can speak on behalf of every Mets fan right now that things aren't fun. They're just not, and they're not playing well. They're not hitting well. But the one thing that has been really good, that has been a really great sign for Mets fans, that the rotation has been off the charts. DeGrom is, he's Jacob DeGrom. He's the best pitcher in baseball. He's got a .67 ERA in 2 starts. He's unbelievable. Stroman looked phenomenal his first start.
How many wins does it show for that?
A big fat 0.
I'm going to say that. It is a crime what the Mets do to that man.
Yeah.
He goes 8 1/3, gives up 1 run, and gets the loss. The fact since 2018 that he has a sub 2.1 ERA, and the Mets are 36-42 when he starts is ridiculous.
Mm-hmm.
If I'm Jacob DeGrom, I'm going to be honest with you, Michael. I'm asking for a trade. I'm getting the heck out of there because they don't know how to support him to save their lives.
It's even more sad that Jacob DeGrom has more hits this season in Jacob DeGrom starts cumulative than any other batter on the Mets. Michael Conforto and Brandon Nimmo have 2 hits total this year in Jacob DeGrom starts. Jacob DeGrom has 3. So that is a great idea. But the Mets just aren't hitting. I mean, I've said it. Look, the Mets are going to hit eventually. That lineup's not going to stay quiet all year. That's a fact. They're just not doing it right now, and it's been tough. And as the history goes, they're not going to hit when Jacob DeGrom starts, unfortunately. But the pitching rotation's been good. I mean, Taijuan Walker,
free DeGrom.
You should start making shirts. Did you see Taiwan Walker's start that he had? He was fantastic. He was throwing 97 for a guy who normally averages 93. He looked really good. Lucchese looked fantastic in his relief outing that he had. David Peterson struggled a little bit, but he really nailed it down other than the 2 innings where he had issues. So the Mets rotations look great. The bullpen's been, as we expected, a problem. But as of right now, I honestly think that once the offense gets going, I think the Mets will actually be playing a little bit better than I thought, because I anticipated the bullpen to struggle, and I really didn't know what to think out of rotation numbers 3 through 5. And right now, it seems like it's pretty good. But what are you seeing right now with the Mets? Because as a Mets fan, it just seems pretty clear that it's the offense, and they're going to break out eventually, but they're going to have to break out kind of soon.
Here's the thing about the Mets. They're not hitting. They're not hitting to save their lives. And I think that's the main issue. You're getting great pitching from DeGrom as usual. Taiwan Walker's look good. You've seen some guys that are pitching well. It's the Mets offense. That's all it is. And the man that they just paid, Frankie Lindor's not hitting. Nobody's hitting, to be quite honest.
Well, Brandon Nemo's batting .462. He's hitting.
Brandon Nimmo. Your best hitters in Pete Alonso, Michael Conforto, Frankie Lindor, and all those guys aren't hitting to save their lives. James McCann's not hitting. All it is hitting. There's no excuse for this Mets team to be where they are right now. I'm sorry. There's no excuse. They should have won yesterday. There's no joke. Every time DeGrom hits that mound, the team should win. Every time he pitches, the Mets should win. But no. I feel bad for the man. I think if I'm the Mets, I am in the cage vigorously trying to figure out what to do to put runs on the board, because that's the main issue. Pitching is fine. Bullpen, they crashed in their first game, but the bullpen's not the real issue right now. It's the offense.
Well, as the story goes, as the offense will pick up, hopefully the rest of the team will. But for right now, I mean, I'm shocked the Mets have 2 wins, because the way they've been playing, I expect them to be 1-4. I expect them to lose today and be 2-4 in the season. But as of right now, until the bats wake up, this Mets team looks like they're going to be finishing in another 4th-place season, which is just really disappointing. But as I said, the bats are going to wake up. People get hot eventually. It's just a matter of time. And it's the best teams at the end of the year, the teams that have the longest hot streaks. And, well, for the Mets, they're just not off to a hot start. So getting to the topic of today's show, which is obviously the title says first no-hitter in franchise history. We'll talk about that later, because we'll obviously have more time to talk, considering that Nick and Marco aren't here. But Mike Trout is arguably, well, not arguably, he is the best player in baseball. But everyone now sits and wonders, is Mike Trout going to go down as the best to have ever played the game? I'm intrigued to hear your thoughts as someone who plays in the American League. You play him a little bit more than I do, but obviously as a baseball fan, I know what Mike Trout can do. So what are your thoughts on that? Will Mike Trout be the best baseball player ever at the end of his career?
I hate hearing about this. I hate this argument. It's so hard in baseball to say who the greatest is, because there's so many areas. Pitching, hitting, bullpen. I'm sorry. The person that I think we should be talking about is Juan Soto, if he will ever eclipse our boy Mike Trout.
That's coming in a minute.
Will he eclipse Mike Trout? He's getting there. He's getting there to where he can eclipse Mike Trout. Overall, Mike Trout has been the best player in the league nearly since he's been up. What you have to look at is the man doesn't finish outside the top 5 in MVP, which is ridiculous. I don't know how a man like Mike Trout is that good that he's consistently – his worst MVP finish was last year, and he finished 5th. He's won MVP 3 times. He's been an all-star in every year of his career besides last year when there wasn't one, and his rookie year when he played 40 games. He has multiple Silver Sluggers. This is a guy who continuously defies what baseball players can do. Consistently the best player in the league, hitting and in the field. The one thing that is hard with baseball is that can you put him above a guy like Babe Ruth, who was a good pitcher and a great hitter? Can you put him above that? That's the issue. Mike Trout has proved he can be the hitter because He's continuously proved that he can be the best hitter in baseball and a dominant fielder. But can he keep it up? And can he get close to Barry Bonds' record of 7 MVPs? If he gets closer, finishes with 5 or 6, yeah, he'll be widely known as the best baseball player ever.
And I think that we are definitely on pace for that. I think that obviously the way Trout has played in his career, incredible defender, incredible hitter. He's amazing. And a guy that has finished at worst of 5th in the MVP in a year where it was just shortened season and probably would have ended up finishing in the top, if not winning it again. It's amazing to me. And I think there will come a time, which I do want to get into, there will come a time where he won't be the best player in baseball at the moment, but that doesn't mean that he won't go down as the best player to ever live at the end of his career. And I think that that's what we'll get to. I think we'll reach a point where at the end of his career, when he retires, whenever that is, which, oh my gosh, thinking of Mike Trout retiring when we've watched his whole career is unbelievable to me. But we will reach a point where he's going to retire. And at that point in his career, he probably won't be the best player in baseball anymore, but he may. But just because he doesn't end his career as the best player in the game doesn't mean he won't go out as the best player to have ever played the game. And I think that's important to note because of what he has done his entire career. Now, Juan Soto, you brought it up. I think you make a great point, and I've been saying it too. I think Juan Soto is going to be the best baseball player in the game in just a couple years. I give him maybe 2 years, I think, because at that point, I think Trout will have depreciated enough and Soto will have proven himself enough to the point where we can firmly say Juan Soto is the best in the game. But my bigger question, because I think that's a little bit more to me and you, I know you agree with me that that's going to be obvious that he's going to get there. Do you think that at the end of his career, Juan Soto will then eclipse Mike Trout and then be the best baseball player to have ever played the game?
It's tough. Here's the thing about Juan Soto. He's one of the best pure hitters I think I've ever seen, if not the best. His swing is pure. The way he hits, I don't think I've seen someone that talented, so pure at the plate. He's not as dominant as the field as Trout. Trout's insane defender as well. Juan Soto's not. And can Juan Soto be the guy who's consistently finishing top 5, top 3 in MVP? The accolades have to stand up near Mike Trout. If he's not going to get those accolades near him, then no. But if he can get those accolades right by him to where he's consistently in the top 3, top 5, getting to the All-Star game, winning Gold Gloves, Silver Sluggers, and being a top player, then yeah, he'll get there, but he's got a tall task. I don't know if we'll ever see a player as dominant as Mike Trout ever again.
I think there's a guy who is he's in the farm system of the Tampa Bay Rays who will be, and that's Wander Franco. I think that kid's going to be a stud one day. Obviously, it's all prospect at the moment, but I think he's going to end up being an incredible defender. But I think what you said with Soto, I agree with you. I think with him, the Mets play him all the time, and I've seen it so many times. He is an elite hitter, but I think that his defense is going to hold him back from at the end of his career being the best baseball player ever, because Mike Trout is going to have elite numbers. Mike Trout is probably going to be a 600 home run player, probably going to be a 3,000 hit player, and have the defensive backing behind him.
The offensive part's not the thing. The offensive part,
right?
See Juan Soto, he could probably get there with 600 home runs and 3,000 hits. The man's 23 years old, and you're already seeing what he can do. The offensive part's not the issue. It's the defensive aspect, and can he stack up with the accolades? Can he consistently be a top-tier player is my thing.
Exactly, and that's what I was going to say, is that I think that Juan Soto will probably go down as the best offensive player ever, maybe. I think he has a chance, but I don't think he can go down as the best player ever simply because his defense is not as good. Now, look, he might work on his defense and become a great defender. It's possible. Defense is something that's learned, but I just don't think that's going to happen. So I think overall, in the end, Juan Soto might end his career as the best offensive player we've ever seen, and Mike Trout will end his career as the best player we have ever seen. So how about that? You and I, we filled that 20 minutes pretty dang well, I have to say. I give us a round of applause because that was good. But there's tons to talk about. Baseball's back. I mean, there's nothing we can't argue that it's going to be a nice, fun season. So that brings us into our next segment on the show, which we do every week, which is Power Rankings. And Power Rankings is something that we've enjoyed doing. We've loved doing Power Rankings ever since we started them on the show. Last week was a little different because, it was 3 days into the season. But now we've had a little bit more time, and I will say, I'm sure you could probably agree with me, that these Power Rankings are the weirdest Power Rankings I have ever seen. I mean, let me count. 1, 2, 3 teams, 4 teams in the top 10 are teams that I actually thought would be top 10 teams. And actually, I could make the argument that one of them, maybe even 2 of them, wouldn't be. And then in the bottom 5, the bottom 5, one of them, no, that doesn't count because they're 25. But one of the bottom 5 teams I thought would be a top 15 team. And yeah, it's a problem. And they're actually in my number 30 spot. So let's get started. Number 30, I'm going to let you go first. Lead us off with each one. You could start us off at 30.
Pirates.
So I wanted to put the Pirates, but they won yesterday. I've got the Nationals at 30. They're 1-4. I mean, they're not, Juan Soto's their only good bat right now. It's just been brutal for them. I mean, if the Pirates lost yesterday, then yes, they would be at number 30. But just right now, the Nationals, their layoff, not having their players, yes, kills them. And I think once they get them back, it'll help. But just the Nationals are struggling right now. I had them at 16 last week.
29, I'm going with the Rangers. They're just so disappointing.
I agree. We can talk a little bit about them because we've got 20 minutes and it's only the 2 of us. I've got the Pirates at 29. I mean, there's no question about it. The Pirates are just they're not going to have a good year. They're one of probably maybe 5 teams that I'd say are living up to what we anticipated so far in the season.
For me, looking at 28, it was tough, but I'm going with the Rockies. The Rockies, they start out fine. They start off just fine. Haven't been able to get anything going. Again, they've been facing a team like the D-backs who isn't anything special and is hurt. So they got to go with the Rockies.
Yeah, the Rockies were one of those teams that started off where, they were okay. And at the beginning of they started low on the list last week. But there was one point in this week where I think I had them up to like 17 or something, but they dropped down. But at 28, I do have the Diamondbacks. The only thing that saved the Diamondbacks from being number 30 is they did beat the Reds yesterday. So that was the only thing that saved them a little bit. But man, this Diamondbacks team, I saw them in person. There's no energy. It's tough. It's really tough. I feel bad for Diamondbacks fans, especially being here in Arizona. I said it to my mom. I said, it's unfortunate that we're here in college and the Diamondbacks are probably never going to have a good team while we are here. It's unfortunate, but just the truth.
Next up, I have the Athletics at 27.
Fair. At 27, I have the Rockies. I agree with everything you said. Just not having it.
26, I have the Diamondbacks. They did get a win yesterday, but this team is just lifeless, and they lost their best player, Ketel Marte. So nothing is going right for them.
Yeah, been really rough. At number 26, I've got the Tigers. And now I did have them at number 19 last week, and I'm not really using last week's as much because as you guys proved to me last week's power rankings were really meaningless. But this week we're starting to formulate a little bit, and the Tigers have they started off okay. And obviously the guy Akil Baddoo, the legend, has been fun to watch, but he's not carrying that team on his own. So they're at 26.
I have the Tigers at 25. Akil Baddoo's been really good. He has. Grand slam, home run, first pitch, walk-off single. He's doing it all, but that Tigers team's just not playing good baseball right now.
This week we had a lot of really great moments, which we'll get to when I get to my top 5 moments of the week. At number 25, I have the Athletics. Now, the Athletics were at 30 the entire week until a few days ago, where now they won 3 out of 4. They're playing a little better, but still, when you're 3 and I think 7, you're not going to be very high on this list.
Now going over to 25. No,
24.
24. I have the Marlins.
Ooh, interesting. At 24, I have the Rangers. Now they've gotten to 500. They're at 4-4, and after their really rough first season with the Royals, they've picked themselves up a little bit, but you can't fall off the ground.
Next up, I have the Nationals at 23.
Yeah, that's pretty fair. 23, I have the Marlins. Just been rough start to the season for them. Yes, they pulled out a win against the Mets, and they've looked a little better in this series, but their offense it is really not working for them.
22, you're going to hate it. I have the Mets. I think the Mets have been atrocious. No offense. That offense is horrible. They've been horrible.
I don't hate it that much. At number 22, I have the Yankees, so the other New York team, and they're my biggest fall of the week at 19 spots. I have them a little below the Mets just because I think that the Mets have had the pitching it's just the offense that hasn't been good. The Yankees have just not had much going for them at this point.
21, I have the Yankees.
How about that? We flip-flopped. I've got the Mets at 21. The Mets are, I said it before, I'll say it again, just rough start to the year.
Next one was tough looking at it, but at 20, I have the Brewers. That offense is so frustrating to watch because they've had dominant pitching from Corbin Burns, and they're just not being able to get runners on base and bringing them home. So just because their offense, I got to put them at 20.
Yeah, it's been a tough one for them. At 20, I have the Mariners. They've been playing a little bit better lately. It's hard for me to put them a lot higher because, they're the Mariners, but I'll give them the respect.
Next up, at 19, I have the Cubs. Just their offense isn't doing it. Zach Davies got lit up yesterday. Not a good start for the Cubs.
I actually have the Cubs a little bit higher. I think that they've been doing okay. At number 19, I have the Indians, who made an 8-spot jump. I mean, honestly, the Indians they've been good. I mean, they are scoring runs. Granted, they're playing the Tigers, so that's the main reason why they're not higher, but they're not playing as bad as we thought.
18, I have the Rays. They're starting to pick it up. It's just watching them is interesting because this is a team that was in the World Series last year. They don't have the pitching. The offense did not get better. It's frustrating because this team has so much potential. They just get another impact bat. They could easily win the AL again, but it's just not looking good for them.
Look at us. We agree for the first time. Rays, 18.
17, give me the Royals. It's for me with the Royals, the bats have gone cold. You saw Lance Lynn dominate the other day. It's insane. That first series, the bats looked great, and then Cleveland, the bats went dead, and then against Lance Lynn, bats went dead. It's frustrating. Brad Keller's looked horrible. So it's frustrating, but the Royals are 3-3. I can't complain whatsoever. I'm still happy with how they're starting out. The bats will continue to grow. I just need better pitching from Brad Keller.
Yeah. How about that? We agree back to back. I've got the Royals at 17. Look at us. We're rocking right now.
16, I have the Mariners.
Okay. I've got the Brewers at 16.
15, I have the Orioles.
Dude, what is up with us? We've got 3 out of our last 4. I've got the Orioles at 15. They've been good. I mean, yeah, they've been getting beaten up by the Red Sox, but I mean, no, not the Red Sox. They beat up the Red Sox in the first weekend. They've just looked good. I mean, I'm impressed. I'm very impressed with an Orioles team that's not expected to do very well.
Yeah, you got to be impressed with what they're doing. They're playing some good baseball. They started out the season with the sweep of the Red Sox, so that helps a lot. Moving on to 14, I have the Blue Jays.
Okay, I thought we might have. I think you'll agree with me that this team hasn't been doing that great. I've got the Braves at 14. They were very low last week after getting rocked by the Phillies, but they've played better. Acuna's hitting a little bit more now, which is good. But overall, I mean, the offense has not done what they needed to do, and they've just not been playing as well as they have to.
Funny that you mentioned that. 13, Braves.
Man, we were so close because I have the Blue Jays at 13, so we almost agreed again.
Next up, going over to number 12, I have the White Sox. They're starting to turn it up a little bit. They're getting really hit with injuries with Tim Anderson now on the IL and then continuing with Eloy Jimenez.
See, I had the Cubs at 12. I actually have them jumping a little bit. I think that their offense has woken up a little bit. They've been winning games. And I think that when it comes to winning games, they've been winning enough games to have them at 12 in a division where we didn't really expect them to do that well. I think that they're overperforming a little bit, so I do have them at that spot for that.
11, I'm going with the Indians. They're starting to play really well. The pitching is there. The pitching, if they continue to pitch like this, the offense can put up 4 or 5 runs a night, they're going to be good to go. So I'm going to go with the Indians here at 11.
How about that? The Indians getting some major respect. At 11, I have the White Sox. So again, we're right on the same track here, but we both had 2 teams in those spots that were the other had a little lower.
We have reached the top 10. My number 10 is the Red Sox.
So we also completely agree on our top 10. Not completely, but we have the same teams in our top 10 because I know that you haven't said any of these teams yet. At 10, I have the Giants. They've just been playing very well. I think they have a lot more potential than people realize. And I mean, a 12-spot jump is really impressive. It's not the biggest of the week, but it's a pretty big leap.
Yeah, at 9, I have the Giants.
That's fair. At number 9, I have the Twins. They're hitting that. I mean, they've stayed constant. I had them at 9 last week, and I might have even had them. I had them at 9 entering the year. So the Twins have literally not changed at all. They're the number 9 team in 2021.
Cardinals at 8.
Hey, look at us. We're agreeing. I think we're going to probably agree a little bit more now, and I've got them at 8 too.
Next up, I've got the Twins at 7.
Okay. I have they were at 6 last week, but now they're at 7 this week. It's the Astros. They were playing red hot. They're still playing very well, but they've cooled a little bit.
Moving over to number 6, I have the Angels.
Okay. At 6, I have the Phillies. Phillies, they jumped 4 spots for me. Their loss yesterday hurt them a little bit. They probably would have been a little higher, but because the teams ahead of them have just been playing a little bit better, it's been just a red hot start to the year for the Phillies. You're muted.
Thank you. Number 5, I have the Astros.
All right. At 5, I have the Red Sox with a 15-point jump from last week. They got swept by the Orioles, and now they're my number 5 in the power rankings. I think they've won every game since then. I mean, they're just on fire. And the funnier thing is, Jared Carabas on Twitter said on Monday after their series with the Orioles, he said season starts today. And I mean, they've been on fire. It's been really impressive to watch for a team that's been playing very well. Rafael Devers, my boy, had a good day yesterday. Helped my fantasy team out, which we could do a fantasy update too. We should start throwing those in there in the power rankings. That'll be fun to do. We'll have some time after the power rankings before we get in the next segment.
Moving on to number 4. For me at 4, I have the Phillies. This team has been insane to start out, and I really like what the bullpen did. You can't get much worse than the bullpen they had last year, but the bullpen's looked pretty good so far.
Hey, can't complain. Number 3 with a 22-point jump. They were in 25 last week. The Cincinnati Reds, just unbelievable. They would have been in number 2 if they had won yesterday, and they actually would have been in number 1 if they won and the Dodgers lost. But they didn't win yesterday, so they're at number 3. But goodness, this team is just red hot.
That's funny you say that. Reds are at 3 for me.
Which means we agree. Well, we may not agree in our top 2, but at number 2, I have the San Diego Padres. And the Padres, the no-hitter, the offense. I mean, there was a time this week where earlier in the week they were about 6 or 7, but they came right back, and they're back to where we expect them to be. They were in 2 last week too.
I kept the Padres at 2.
All right, so we agree. Dodgers at number one. This team is just there was a period there where it's a little worried that maybe the Dodgers wouldn't maybe they wouldn't be as good as the number one team, but I mean, come on, they're the Dodgers. They're not going to change. So for me, my biggest jump were the Reds at 22, biggest fall were the Yankees at 19, and power rankings were good. So now that we have a few minutes, let's do a little update because the good thing is our fantasy week ends today.
Also,
Ryan,
I just got to put it out there. Yeah, I have the Dodgers at 1. Just got to put that.
Yeah. Well, I thought you might have put the Rockies up there, for the week. You never know. So how's your fantasy team doing? Ryan's taking on Nick this week. I'm intrigued I know how you're doing, but I'm sure the viewers are intrigued to hear how your team's been.
I just grabbed my phone because I got to check. I have not checked. I checked before yesterday. So let's see how I'm doing. And I am still beating Nick by 81 points.
Woo!
No, something like that. I'm not good at math. I'm a journalism major. Everyone remember that. I am beating him 566 to 487.
Whoa!
Wiping the floor with him right now. All it has become is my pitching. My pitching's been so good. But some of my best players are injured. Bellinger, Marte, Voit, and Anderson all hurt. So I picked up Jose Altuve until one of them gets healthy. But my team is looking good. We are on the road to undefeated as long as we can hold on today.
Dude, your team is on fire. Oh my goodness. That's been unbelievable. 50 points at Lance Lynn. Nick's team would beat me Nick's team has one more point than I do this week. I've got 486, but I'm murdering Marco. It's been a really rough week for him. Marco's got 360 points. I'm beating him by 126. Poor Marco he's not having it this week. He has a lot of, I don't think he has a full bench. I've changed my lineup every day to put starters in there. Marco doesn't. So I have 6 more players that have gotten points that he hasn't. Well, I've also dropped a few players, but I've got Bauer, who's been incredible, Trout, Greinke. But hey, if I were playing you would have smoked me this week because that's just the way it's going to go. I think I'm actually playing you next week. I'm pretty sure. Let's take a look in the schedule. No, I'm playing Nick's team this week, so that'll be interesting. And then you're playing Marco, and based on the way Marco did this week, I think you'll probably have a good time with that. But I mean, as of the way things are right now, Nick's team was struggling a little bit earlier on in the week, but I mean they picked it up right at the end. So I think this is gonna be good. The way early on, it looks like it's gonna be you, me, and Nick that are gonna do the damage, and Marco's gonna probably be on the end. But I mean, right now things are looking very good.
Michael, I want my respect because you said it was going to be between you and Nick the entire way after the draft, and look who was wiping the floor with Nick. You underestimated my team, and they're not even healthy. Just wait till we're healthy, and guess what? We're running home with that championship, and I want that.
I know. So also breaking news right now, Alden Gonzalez just tweeted that the Angels starting right fielder Dexter Fowler tore his ACL. He will miss the rest of the season, which will probably give Joe Adele that starting right fielder spot. So brutal break for the Angels.
Dexter Fowler, I said it, one of the best moves the Cardinals made was getting rid of that contract because he just hasn't lived up to it. And the last thing you want to see is someone get hurt. I hate saying that, and I hate that. Gosh, that's horrible. I wish that didn't happen. You never want to see a player get hurt. But, the Angels have some depth. Joe Adele, I think, is going to take over there. But it sucks for Dexter Fowler. Hopefully he gets speedy recovery, and he'll return and be great next year.
Yeah, you said it a long time ago that you were not a fan of that Dexter Fowler trade for the Angels. And unfortunately for the Angels, you were right. So now we have let's hear it, running the bases, as we are going to do every week. We have 4 bases to cover. There's 4 of us. Today there's only 2. S4E2. So Ryan and I are going to have to compensate and make up for their segments. Ryan is going to be doing his segment and Nick's segment. So he's going to be covering first and second. I'll be covering third and home. I'll be doing Marco's segment. So Ryan, take it away. You have 10. Actually, let me get the timer up because the timer is good. I want to have
how many pictures you want me to put for my team of the week. So I'm just doing 2, if that's okay.
Yeah, that's fine. Ooh,
okay.
That's bad.
So my number 1 pitcher, of course, Joe Musgrove.
Wait. Let me get the picture up. Let me get the timer up really quickly for you. Let me share the screen. What'd you say?
I'm not gonna spend 10 minutes doing this.
Well, no, it's 10 minutes on both of your. Yeah. This is total for you and Nick. So I think you'll be okay. Can you see the timer on the screen? Yes, you can. Perfect. All right. Let's hit start. Go ahead.
My first pitcher is Joe Musgrove. What he did, San Diego native, throwing the first no-hitter in franchise history. That's insane. I love those little stories. I think it's incredible. He was dominant. I give a ton of credit to him. He's my first pitcher. My second pitcher is going to be Lance Lynn. Shut down the Royals. He's looked really good so far. So Lance Lynn's my second pitcher. My catcher kills me to say I got to give it to Roberto Perez. He's starting to hit a little bit better, and his defense is always there. So I'm going to give it to Roberto Perez. And I hate it. Yeah,
that's a tough one. You were not very – all right, forget it. Forget the timer. This is a disaster. Keep going. Sorry.
I was say something, but that was like, you know what? Let him do what he wants.
Yeah, I was trying to figure out one that looked good. It just didn't. It's fine.
First base, I'm going to stick with Hosmer. He's had a tremendous start to this season. He's been great. Second base is Ryan McMahon. He's hitting really well. I love what he's doing right now. He's hitting well. He's playing good defense. Got to give him his respect there. Third base is Jose Ramirez. He had 2 home runs against the Royals. He's the engine to that Indians offense, and he's hitting pretty well. Then yesterday, Bo Bichette was insane, but throughout the week he's been hitting well, so I'm putting Bo Bichette at shortstop. Left field is the future, one of the future faces of the MLB, Juan Soto. Mm-hmm. Center field is Ronald Acuna Jr. And then right field, Avisel Garcia. He had 5 RBIs yesterday, hit a home run. He's hitting pretty well for a very, very rough Brewers offense. He's hitting really well. And then my DH, Yerman Mercedes, hit 480-foot shot against the Royals off Brad Keller. He's hitting the cover off the ball. He's been terrific so far. And Nick's is player of the awards. Is that what Nick says?
No, his is potential breakout players, just players to watch.
Players to watch. Gotta stick with Yerman Mercedes. He's definitely someone you have to watch, especially what he's done. Akil Baddoo as well. 2 young guys who are going out and playing very good baseball for teams that need it. So I want everyone to watch out for those 2. You also have to watch for, I think, Marcus Semien and Kevin Biggio are still going to get it going. I think that they need to step up until George Springer's healthy and ready to go. So I expect them to step up and play well. And then the main guy that I got to highlight, you got to watch just Jacob deGrom pitch, and hopefully he does not get screwed over by that horrible Mets offense. Those are my guys that you have to watch this week because these are just talented players. And then it's always a treat to be able to watch Jacob deGrom.
Sorry, AirPods moved to an iPad somewhere in the house. So that means that, oh my gosh, did it do it again? It did it again. Okay, now what is happening? I'm hearing myself speak. Okay, I think it's working now. It keeps automatically flipping to the iPad. I don't understand. So we are rolling in here. I've got Nick's segment for the week. I'm sorry, Marco's segment for the week. Marco's at third base. He's the weekly awards. We've got AL and NL MVP of the week. And let me just say, I'm coming up with these on the fly. This is completely on the fly. Looking through, there have been a lot of really great players this week. But overall, in the scheme of things, in the American League, I am rolling with Oh, I've got to go for it. Nelson Cruz. He has been so good. 4 homers, 9 RBIs. He batted .455 this week with a .480 on base percentage. AL MVP of the week, give it to him. I mean, I said it. I think he's going to have a really good year this year, and he is clearly living up to it. NL MVP of the week is hard. This is really not easy, and I think that there are so many players that can apply here, but I'm going with Ronald Acuna Jr. Ronald Acuna Jr. has just been unbelievable this last week, finally hitting. He's got 3 homers, 6 RBIs. He's batting .458 in the last 7 days with a .480 on base percentage. And on top of that, a 1.48 OPS in just 24 at-bats. Also got to mention Tyler Naquin's name here. 5 homers, 12 RBIs, .333 average, so not as flashy, but a 1.407 OPS. He is a very close second on here. 2 incredible hitters that have just been ripping the cover off the ball. So your AL MVP of the week is Nelson Cruz. Your NL MVP of the week, Ronald Acuna Jr. Let me just say, those are 2 names that we quite frankly expected to be playing very well this year, so it's not a surprise there. Now, Rookie of the Week is where things get interesting, and obviously these are not easy to pick. And, in terms of the way things have been going, there's a lot of guys that stand out. Akil Baddoo in the AL side stands out to me. However, there's this one guy, and I don't know if he counts as a rookie. No, he does not, because he played in 2019. So Jared Walsh is my other guy that I was looking at who's having a phenomenal year, but he's not a rookie. So, you know what? And again, like I said, this is all on the fly. I'm having to do this here because Marco obviously not being here. We have to make up for their segments. AL Rookie of the Week, Akil Baddoo. I mean, the dude's been elite. He's batting .313, 2 homers, 7 RBIs. His OPS has been 1.165. I mean, that's just unbelievable. That is, you cannot replicate that. He has just been so much fun to watch. And, I mean, you're never going to complain about that. That's just been he's been really fun to watch. NL side, still looking, because this has been a very, I will say, a very tough week in the National League. And honestly, overall, for rookies at least, there's not really many people that stand out to me. I mean, man, this is not jumping off the page, I will say. There's been a lot of great players and a lot of players that have been playing very well. And obviously, as you could tell, I'm trying to buy time because I can't find anybody. But this is why we have the built-in time. But there have been a lot of great names overall. But, man, just looking through, there is one dude that stood out to me. I have to check his rookie status. Let me check his rookie status really quickly. Well, actually, I don't know. I think he might count as a rookie. We're going to go for it because there's nobody else that's here. Dom Nunez. He's a catcher for the Rockies. He's only had 9 at-bats, but he's batting .333, so that's 3 hits in the 9 at-bats, and 2 of those 3 hits have been home runs. So, I mean, kudos to Dom Nunez. The dude has been hitting pretty well, and I mean, the more I look, there's nobody. There's just not. There's nobody else that's standing out. So, good for him. He has been hitting very well. So, how about that? You've got Akil Baddoo in the AL side for Rookie of the Week, and then Dom Nunez on the NL Rookie of the Week. And then we go to the Cy Youngs of the week. And Cy Young, this is one side is pretty clear. The other side is not as obvious. But on the American League side, boy, there have been some really good pitchers so far. Aaron Civale has been very good. Steven Matz kills me to say, but he has been very good. Lance Lynn was solid. But overall, the Cy Young of the week on the American League side, I am giving it to Aaron Civale of the Cleveland Indians. 15, well, it says here 15 3/3 innings, which would then be 16 innings. 12 strikeouts, a 2.45 ERA, but a .55 whip. That's incredible. That is one of the lowest whips of the week overall. That can't be replicated. And in over 2 starts, that's very good. And then you've got Mr. Jacob deGrom for the National League Cy Young. There's just no question about it. Obviously, with Joe Musgrove. What?
Musgrove. You
No.
have to.
No. He's
Oh,
only had one start. Jacob deGrom has had 2 starts, and he has a 0.64 ERA and a .71 WHIP. I'm sorry. He's only had one start. He's only had one start.
just make them co-Cy Youngs.
I was going to. I can. I can make them co-Cy Youngs, but the main Cy Young is Jacob deGrom, and the runner-up and the fine co-Cy Young, because, you know, Marco's not here, so this can be a collective agreement, is Joe Musgrove. Obviously, he deserves a lot of credit for throwing the first no-hitter in Padres history. Now, that wraps it up for that. Again, recap. Nelson Cruz, American League MVP. NL MVP is Ronald Acuna Jr. American League Rookie of the Year, Akil Baddoo. National League Rookie of the Week. I said Rookie of the Year. American League Rookie of the Week is Akil Baddoo. National League Rookie of the Week, Dom Nunez. American League Cy Young of the Week, Aaron Savale. And National League Cy Young of the Week, we have a tie with Jacob deGrom and Joe Musgrove. How about that? That was pretty good on the spot. I think both of us did a pretty solid job on the spot. I had to just make that all up in the last 10 minutes. That was pretty solid. So now we get into my segment, which I did have planned. Now, last week, having the videos was a disaster. So that's just not going to happen. We're not going to do videos this week.
There's no videos.
Yeah, that was a disaster. So we're not doing videos. I just have the moments here. What a week of moments, first of all. I think you can agree with me that this was a phenomenal week in terms of moments in Major League Baseball. There were the top 3 are probably going to end up being maybe even top 15 moments of the year. That's how good they were. We start with number 5. This one was a strange one, and no, there were none that took it over. I've got the Mets walk-off from the hit by pitch. And the reason why it's a top 5 moment of the week is because it is the weirdest and most controversial.
That's a top 5 horrible call.
It's a moment of the week. It got so much recognition because of it. It's got to be a top 5 moment of the week. Whether it's a good moment or a bad moment, it's the weirdest and most controversial way for the Mets to win a ball game. Michael Conforto getting hit by a pitch on a pitch that was a strike. The umpire called it a strike, but then called it a hit by pitch. He then came out afterwards and said that he was wrong. It should have been a strike, and he should have been out, and the Mets shouldn't have won that way. In the end, the Mets would have probably ended up winning the game anyway, but the way that they won the game was just really weird fashion. Because we have time, I want to hear your thoughts on all 5 of these too. So what have been your thoughts on that play?
I just said it. Horrible call. You cannot. I don't know if he mean to lean in, but here's the thing. If that is a strike, which it obviously was, you call it a strike. He was ringing him up, strike 3. And they say, no, hit him. No, stick with your call. Yeah. It's so frustrating. Because here's the thing. Michael Conforto's out. I don't care what anyone says. He's out. And I think most Mets fans will agree with me. He's out, and there's no excuse for that. I think the ump made a horrible call. There's a reason why instant replay is the thing. To get calls right, and what did they mess up? A call. It's ridiculous, and it's frustrating because Michael Conforto should have been out. He went across the plate. That's a strike. Ring him up. Move on.
I agree. It was a very interesting play. Now, at number 4, I know you're very happy about this one. This is Shohei Ohtani. In a game where he pitched and hit, he went 1 for 3. He hit a moonshot and pitched very good baseball. He threw 4 2/3 innings with 1 earned run and 7 strikeouts. That was on April 4th. This was last Sunday, so it was the day of our last show. And what a play! I mean, what a player! You don't see guys pitch and hit in general, but he did both and did them very well. I know you love Shohei Ohtani. What was your reaction to this?
I love Shohei Ohtani. We've known this. Loved him since he entered the league. He's my AL MVP. He's been killing it. He looks solid in his start, and he's hitting the ball well. This is all I need to see. He wins MVP. I celebrate. It will be incredible. And let me just say, don't forget about my boy Nolan Arenado. Hit his first home run in his first game in Busch Stadium as a Cardinal. So My MVP is looking good right now. But no, I'm very happy to see Shohei Ohtani succeed. That's the main thing. Someone that's been riddled with injuries. As long as he can stay healthy and be contributing, the happier I am and the better baseball is for it.
You're right. You love those guys. Those are your boys. Now we get to number 3, and these were the 3 untouchables that no matter what happened, were never going to be replaced. At number 3, which I swear I did not think anything could take it over in the number 1 spot once it happened, Randy Arozarena's catch. Oh my God, I wish I could show it right now, because that catch that Randy Arozarena made was one of the best catches in the history of baseball. He leapt and his arm went over his shoulder. He caught the ball. It was, I've never seen a guy get so much hang time on a leap. It was unbelievable. April 5th, you can go and watch it. I mean, it was just unbelievable. Well, I want to hear what you have to say.
That might be one of the best catches I've ever seen. Might be catch of the year. I just love how Arozarena, he's not hitting very well to start, first off. He's struggling at the plate a little bit. But looking at that catch, the distance he got in the air, oh my God.
Oh,
insane. Lays out, makes an incredible catch. I don't know what else to say besides I was speechless when I saw it. That's how great of a catch that was.
Yeah, I think I watched it on repeat over and over again. So much fun. Now, at number 2, I mean, this is not just one moment. It is many moments compiled into one spot. Akil Baddoo's elite first weekend in the majors. His first pitch he ever saw in the big leagues, he hits a home run. Then the next day he hits a grand slam. Then the day after that got a walk-off and then hit a triple in the game after. His first 4 games had incredible highlights in them that very few people have in their careers. I mean, just unbelievable. So Akil Baddoo, by far, just the number 2 spot. If it weren't for the number 1, it would obviously be the number 1 spot, but just a phenomenal and heartfelt thing. It's too bad Nick wasn't here, because I'm sure he would love to speak on this, but it was just fun to watch.
His story's insane. He had to get Tommy John. He's a Rule 5 player. Comes out first pitch he sees as a major league player. Hits it over the left field wall. That was awesome to see. Backs it up with a grand slam, a walk-off, and a triple. You can't ask for a better start to your career than that. You can't. He's been incredible so far, and he's provided a big boost to that Tigers lineup because they've needed it.
He's really been the only boost in that Tigers lineup, too, which has been, unfortunately, again, Nick not here to talk about it, been a little rough. And at number 1, the title of the video and thumbnail, there's no question, obviously, the number 1 moment of the week, as it will be anytime there's a no-hitter this year probably, is Joe Musgrove's no-hitter. Heartfelt moment. The San Diego Kid came out and threw the first no-hitter in franchise history. I was sitting at the Diamondbacks game and I was watching the Padres. It was a special moment. It was a moment that I personally will remember forever. I'm sure every Padres fan will remember forever. I'm sure you will probably remember. I mean, personally, I remember most final outs of no-hitters and where I was, because anytime there's a no-hitter alert, I'm watching. But it was a special moment getting to watch that, and it was a moment that'll live in infamy.
San Diego native does it. I love that piece of it. Just the history, just the connection. 53 years, 52 or 53 years for the pop.
53.
And they finally get that no-hitter that has been eluding them for so long. It's incredible. I'm so happy for them. Happy for Joe Musgrove. He was dominant. I'll say this: that David Dahl line drive in the bottom half of the 9th to lead off, I thought that was a hit.
Ooh, so lie.
Scared me.
Yeah, that was tough. Now, the thing for me with no-hitters, just really quickly before we wrap up, is I have now thinking about this, obviously there's no way for us to ever know again unless there's more expansion teams. But if a team throws a no-hitter in the postseason but doesn't have a regular season no-hitter, does that technically count as the franchise having a no-hitter, or does it not count? Something we probably will never have to worry about. But
it's got to count. It has to count. It has to.
Yeah, but I mean, they don't count other things that happen in the postseason for the franchise. So I don't know. That would be interesting. So that'll do it for today. Season 4, episode 2. Ryan, you and I, we did a great job today. Just the two of us. We covered the other 2 segments pretty well, I must say. We did a very good job. Just the 2 of us today. We've done it many times before. We'll probably end up doing it again. Unfortunately, Marco and Nick did not join us today, but Ryan and I here, we fought it out to the very end. We did a great job, great show. Sunday, April 11th. We will be back again next Sunday. Next Sunday, what's on tap? Well, obviously, we're going to be recapping Major League Baseball as a whole, and you're not going to want to miss that. I will pull up the bull. Well, you guys, it'll be a surprise. You'll find out next week as to what's going to be on the show. So make sure you're there. It'll be a fun weekend as usual. We look forward to seeing you guys. Take care, everybody.